Yeah, we know drama. Yes, you do. You wouldn't be brave without drama.
Alright, broadcast is going. We'll see when they can see and hear us.
Oh, here, let me kill my fans. I'll be right back.
Can you guys hear the fans?
You sound fine. No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't
you sound
even hear
fine,
the
so-
fans.
Oh, you can't hear the fans?
No, not at
you're
all.
good.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to keep them going then.
Because, it's 81 with 81% humidity, so.
Yeah, it's terrible in the great state of Wisconsin. I'd last week my state was covered in soot and smoke from the Canadian fires. It was so
Yeah.
fantastic.
And you say that I live in Mordor.
It's like,
No, that
well,
would be us.
like Angmar or something. It's terrible.
Yeah, no, those Canadian fires were just horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All this, I woke up and there was an alert on my cell phone. Air quality alert. Your state is covered in soot. Great.
Oh,
Black-
yeah. Stay
Have
inside
you-
if you can.
Have you ever suffered from black lung disease?
Would you like to? Alright, we are live and they can see us, so... Barring any last minute show updates or anything like that, I think, McCullough, you can take us in.
All right. Occupants, really. Participants to this... fracking ponies.
Words are hard.
Fine, one moment. My Cthulhu will eat your pony.
Oh, okay. No, wait a minute. Where did you get that? I need one of those.
Comic-Con.
Okay.
Phoenix Comic-Con.
That's pretty incredible.
Thank you. All right. One last thing. Namaste. All right, let's start this, baby. All right.
Doom.
Oh, crap.
Alright, we're done.
No, we're not. Damn it. What?
And I broke McCullough.
Cultural victory!
Yay!
Help! I need an adult.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when Langtheris gets on your podcast.
For the record, I don't have any doodads at my desk. I have some Visine. That's it. That's literally it.
All right, we're gonna start this show before we start showing up all the collections. Okay. Starting the show in 5? Okay. 3, 2, 1. On this episode of the AIE Podcast.
We need your nominations.
Summer of Love is on the way.
Yay! Psst, hey, you. Want a Cantina speeder code?
Happy 3rd birthday to The Secret World.
Help Final Fantasy XIV make the workshop console panel.
All that and more coming up now.
Bringing you the latest news from the AIE gaming community from planet Earth and beyond. This is the AIE Podcast.
Good evening, morning, or afternoon, depending on where you're listening, and welcome to episode 237 of the podcast celebrating you, the Alia Acta Est gaming community. The Die Has Been podcast. This is Makala, and to my left is Tetsemi.
I'm still in the jungle. Deep in the jungle. Help!
All right, and while we send out a perch party for him, over to my right is the absolutely lovely Aludra.
Hey AIE, I think you're awesome.
This week we have our wonderful special guests, Hoot and Langtheris, who are here to talk to us about AIE and EVE. Welcome, guys.
I
Oh.
swear. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just speak right up. You don't get to talk all the time, Lank. I get to talk sometimes. Hello, Podcastlandia. That's
Hi,
all.
I'm Langtheris. I like slow romantic walks on the beach. and eating strawberries till I poop.
Now,
He likes to take it down just a little bit.
right.
Real calm, real soothing.
However, because we have Lank on the show, I need the chat room to start taking bets on exactly how long he's gonna go. So, because we can't have a short show with Lank Theris on. Anyways. So, guys, how's everyone's week's been going? I'm gonna start with the man that's gonna take up most of our time, Lank. How you been doing, Lank?
I have been doing fairly well.
Okay, and that's all we have time for. Thank you.
10 seconds, people. 10 seconds. But in the sake of brevity, I will be quiet now. No, really. Go on.
What have you been playing besides Eve?
Well, besides Eve, actually, I've been spending a lot of time in Heroes of the Storm.
Ooh.
And I've been playing with Kerrigan, one of my favorite characters. Kerrigan, particularly like the succubus one. The succubus.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys are underestimating the amount he's playing in Heroes of the Storm. I saw him logged in there for 2 days browsing a menu.
Yeah.
I was metagaming. No, actually,
There
no.
you go.
No, I got a new machine and I left it on, so everyone's thinking, "What are you up to? You've been on for 2 days straight." It's like, no, I just left the computer on. Really, that's just I'm not playing 48 hours straight because and my wife would kill me.
Yes, exactly.
So that and tootling around in Eve and just kind of not really much gaming. As many of you have known, I started up grad school not that long ago, so I've been spending every and all waking moment writing and reporting on people and talking about them in excessive detail, all in written format. So yes, I might be writing about you. You may not even know it.
Oh, Great. So why Lank is spying on us, Hoots? What have you been doing in and out of game?
Oh, okay, so I too, actually, you know what? I did very briefly buy and pick up this little game called Ark, which is apparently all the rage. It's like whatever that Rust game is, except with dinosaurs. So it's like a survival game, except you can tame and do things with dinosaurs and that sort of stuff. But there was another gem that I found a couple of weeks ago, and I thought I sent it to our very own Lank Theris as a gift. I don't know if you've opened up Steam recently. There is a game. You should check your gifts, and you should check this game called Space Corn. It is a text adventure game. It was worth every single 87 cents that I spent on it. If you're under the age of 18, you are not allowed to play it.
You don't understand. You don't understand. Besides that, he also went ahead and got me as a joke one time, Hotline Miami. Thank you, Hoots.
Okay, no, Hotline Miami is a fantastic game. Hotline Miami is incredible. It is also gratuitously and terrible violent, but that soundtrack is so amazing. It's so good. It's like Zen when you're completing a stage, except it's essentially a murder simulator. So it's a really terrible game, but it's really fantastic. That's about it. Just Space Corn and my brief adventure with Ark, and then attempting to corral the herds of cats in Eve.
So what you're telling us, it's much like if Lank sends you a link, if Hoots sends you a game in Steam, just don't open it. Got it. Good warning.
You know what? And that's what I thought Lank would appreciate. The game that I sent him.
Yeah, Hoots sends out games like I send out disturbing YouTube links. So
Right. Exactly.
Also, another game. Frog Fractions, the best game ever made.
Oh, don't do it. Don't. It breaks your brain. It's like it breaks the fifth wall of dimensions. Just don't. Oh. No, really. Play the game because it's
it's so good.
Playing?
When you get to Bug Mars, it's really great.
Nice.
I have concerns about this show now. So, Aludra, what have you been doing in or out of game?
Well, in-game, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy. I love the new expansion. It's been so great. just running around, seeing all the new dragon people, the music, so it's just so great. I'm sure you guys all heard about this, so I'm not even going to
That's okay.
recap all that. And then, let me see, out of game, it's just summertime here, you know? It's really warm. Got the kids, birthdays, that sort of thing. So
Yay!
I've been having a pretty good time out of it all. What about you?
Me?
You or Tetsemi?
Let's go with that. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to deflect. That's what I do well.
Nice. I have been most of the time in WoW lately. Some uptick in activity as we get people in for the expansion, or not the expansion. Good Lord, patch. My brain's stuck on. Sorry, my brain was stuck on Heaven's Ward for Final Fantasy XIV.
Such a great game.
Yeah. We missed you last week when Abel was on.
I know, I'm sorry, but it was a big event, so I couldn't miss
Yeah,
out.
totally. Very important.
Yeah. But, I've been stuck in non-jungle, flying between
The mighty
there.
jungle.
Yep, and flying between there and the shipyard. Finally knocked out whatever Draenei Sea chart I needed from the shipyard, so now I guess it's wait for the 1% chance missions to get a, let's see, I think there's a pet, there's a mount, and there's a black market auctioneer for your garrison that you can get as a random shipyard mission, so I'm just kind of waiting for those to appear, but I've done all the Pathfinder stuff, and I'm set and ready for flying whenever they decide to release that, so... And it honestly, they said it was not going to be a grind, and it really wasn't a grind. I think I had 8 of the medallions drop, and with the Dark Moonfair buff, which buffs your rep if you ride the carousel or have the hat, and the trading post, the level 3 trading post, I was getting a ton of rep from those, so that helped. But yeah, just hanging out in game and raiding, but I think I'll let McCullough tell us about raiding.
What, we raid? All right. So Fert is having a lot of fun right now. We're actually doing LFRs on Thursday. Hellfire? Is that where we are?
Yeah, Hellfire Citadel.
Thank you. Had to double check. Which has actually been a blast. Because we're doing LFR, so there's not that much pressure. But of course, being AIE, even with it being an LFR, we can pretty much dominate that whole thing and just make it an all-guild run. So that was a blast. What are we at? 3, 4 bosses down?
3, the first wing.
The first wing's
Something
down.
like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But we also go up and do Kazakh and then go do Rukmar as well.
Right. Been a good time. And then Thursday night... Sunday nights, I'm trying to remember what we do on Sunday nights. Wow.
We went back to Blackrock Foundry.
Right. Getting up some gear for folks, having a good time. I think we're actually going to start attacking Hellfire fairly soon, though, as a regular raid.
Yep.
So that's about it. I actually played today for fun.
No.
I did about 2 hours.
That never happens.
I know, it was amazing. I'm like, we don't have a lot of news. I think I'm actually going to take a break before writing show notes and play the game. So that's about it with me. So we're going to go ahead and dig into Eve in just a few minutes with our illustrious guests. But first, let's go ahead and cover this week's news.
AIE News.
Yay, I got it on the first try. All right. In our community section, we need your Guildie of the Month nominations, since the officers can't be everywhere and see everything that everyone does. Or so you think. Jedi needs your folks' help. Yes, you, AIE, to give him some nominations. There's an ongoing post in the community section of the forums. You can also PM him as well, or send him an email to gotm@aie-guild.org. And speaking of the Guildie of the Month, congrats to our winners from July, Caitlin and Tanaria from Final Fantasy XIV. Caitlin and Tanaria are married in real life, and in-game they're both super helpful people. To help everyone get to know our awesome guildmates better, Jedi has conducted a short interview with them, available on the Guild website, aie-guild.org, and we'll have links to both those in our show notes.
Yay, Cat and Jen!
That's awesome.
And in just under 3 weeks, the celebration of all things Frog Pants will be occurring at the Snowbird Ski Resort in beautiful Salt Lake City, near beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. Get more information at nertacular.com, including scheduled events, a list of guests, and a link for the last few remaining tickets. Yes, there are a few tickets, very few remaining.
But no hotel rooms.
Nope. Also, take a look on the Frog Pants forums. There's a whole section dedicated to Nerdtacular, including people looking to coordinate travel, and there's a meetup for the event on our meetup site. And if you can't go and you want to hang out with local guildies, use the meetup site to plan any real-life guild events. The site is meetup.com/Alia_Iacta_est. Sorry, it was completely underlined.
Yeah, it was. All right, so the Summer of Love, as I mentioned at the top of the show, is coming. We are looking to have the schedule for our annual Summer of Love soon. Though, due to a scheduling conflict with the tail end of Nerdtacular, we will be pushing things back by a week. But don't worry, a coup, a wedding, and shenanigans are all being planned. And, of course, the very important Remembrance Day. And even though San Diego Comic-Con didn't give the fans what they were dying for, hello, trailer, there was a fair bit of WoW movie news, including posters featuring both Duratan and Lothar. Wowhead and the Nerdist both have good wrap-ups of the panel, plus there's been a promise of a real preview in November, probably at BlizzCon. And every report from San Diego Comic-Con has said that the footage was amazing. Me, I'm not holding my breath, because if you have it under this tight of wraps, it's not bound to be that great.
I don't know. Or maybe they're just really, really secretive. Anyway, well, and not related to SWTOR directly, but additional amazing news from San Diego Comic-Con. There was a 3-minute episode 7 behind-the-scenes reel that was shown in San Diego. Quickly put up on the on YouTube. Wow, nice. It may have brought a few adults to tears. Seriously, if you haven't seen it, go watch it now. And then when you're done, go play SWTOR. And if you're in SWTOR and want the Cantina Speeder, well, some of our generous guildmates have been kind enough to share extra codes on the forums. Also, this week on the SWTOR Escape podcast number 98, AIE Sema, Max the Grey, and Astromech EPC 98. I didn't realize they did that, hey. Talk about the official and unofficial community resources available to SWTOR outside the game, podcasts, websites, videos, blogs, streams, etc. They talk about their favorites in each category and where you can go for more. They also cover other game news for the week in SWTOR in general, and specifically in our guild. Also, huge congrats to our friends over at the Escape Podcast as they near their 100th episode.
And the Secret World retracted. Oh, okay, fine. We actually have information. The Secret World is currently celebrating their 3rd anniversary through July 15th. The Guardians of Gaia will once again be looming over the landscape, perilous in their march. Gather up your new friends and defeat these invading monstrosities. They also have some really awesome new goodies featuring true hippie style, including a new outfit, a lava lamp, and a motorcycle design. Links are in the show notes. There's there's also a link to the June development update with Caesar, S-E-Z-E-R, available in the forums as well.
Woohoo! All right, so the folks at Final Fantasy are well on their way for the components needed for the workshop console panel. Materials to make the components or components for future purchase phases and item pieces are being stored on tab 2 of the FC chest, which is the guild bank. They are currently working on the items needed for the Invincible airship and its riggings. So head on
Yay.
over to the forums, check out the progress. It's being updated quite often.
Awesome. And with that, Lank, Hoots, you want to tell us what's going on with AIE in Eve?
I swear I didn't do it. It's all Hoot's fault.
Of course it is. Of course.
You know, let's back up a little bit, and we'll talk about what's happening on the 14th. There is this thing that the player base has kind of colloquially called FozzySov. And that's a real good name. I really like it. And yes, it is after Fozzie Bear, but specifically it's after one of the developers at the company has named himself CCP Fozzie. And he's kind of the public face of this new system. And it is specifically regarding the parts of space that are owned by players. So it's a really important, and it really, whenever you hear about a news story that hits Forbes or the BBC about EVE Online, it probably has something to do with the people that live in player-owned space. So these mechanics and these changes are going to, in some ways, radically overhaul how you take and capture that space. And I have an info dump of links in the show notes if you want to read, but basically the short summary, the really short summary, you don't necessarily need a massive fleet to grind through millions and millions of structures of hit points in order to take systems. You can now theoretically do it with a smaller force that just can hold and win the field. That's it in a very bird's eye view nutshell. I have a handy flowchart for the steps that are required to take space in EVE now, and it's a lot of people are, I don't know if I would say excited, Lank. What would you say?
Seeing that this is a family-friendly show, I would have to say is they are grasping in both hands, getting both hands, grasping both sides of their posterior, and hoping for the best. Because, man, the opportunity for chaos, ridiculousness, and all around just the drama is there. It's like it's like sitting on top of a barrel full of like gunpowder, and you're sitting there lighting a cigarette, and it's just like you don't do it. It's like watching a bad Buster Keaton film. It's like don't. Oh my God! Oh, and then it's just gonna go all blow up. And we're sitting there kind of like wringing our hands and just kind of we've been working overtime creating popcorn as we're gonna sit there and like just nibble away at it. Because, well, first of all, we ran out of popcorn from the earlier dramas, but this one is just like, this one's going to be on an epic scale. I mean, it's fantastic.
So, to be clear, the large organizations in EVE have been preparing for this for months now. For literally months. You have Goon Swarm in the north, which has rebranded themselves as an organization called the Imperium. They've consolidated into basically a fortress in the north, which is, if you look at a map of EVE, there are cardinal directions of like a 2D representation. It's not that complicated, but yes, there's no direction in space, but whatever. In the north.
Because Space North, Space North.
Right.
So Space North. And like groups have risen and fallen just in the 2-month lead up.
I know.
To
it's
this.
Like one of the other big superpowers in the game, was it Nully or N3?
The N3 coalition, they just evaporated.
Yeah, they were there one day, one of the most richest, most powerful groups in the game, and next day it's like, oh, see you, bye, later, just evaporate.
Oh, wow.
It's just like it's akin to like walking into like Rome and finding a giant crater there. It's like, what happened? What happened?
So it was Mount Vesuvius blowing up, basically.
Pretty much. It's just like, and
you wonder where all that stuff went. That's going to be the fun part, is because all that all the parts and all the stuff went somewhere.
Where there is a vacuum.
Nature abhors a vacuum, and we will some way or another fill it, and fill it hard, man, because it is a truly interesting place right now when you have so many smaller and medium-sized entities that used to be basically living under the shadow of these giant, like, monolithic entities, and just these hegemons, and all of a sudden they're coming out of the woodwork. And it's like you can't, as soon as you beat one down, there's 5 more to take over its place.
One of the giant monoliths decided, hey, we don't even want anything to do with sovereign space anymore. We're just going to live on the edges of sovereign space, specifically Pandemic Legion. And they adopted this policy long before these announcements were made, and they're in a position of, we're just going to sit on the outside of sovereign space, and we're going to make life miserable for anyone who lives in player-owned space because of these changes. And
you insulted my girlfriend. I think it will blow up your station because I can.
It really is these changes. This is the sort of change in EVE that shakes things up. And it's gonna get real good.
Yeah, because this is actually leading up to. This is a kind of like the next phase of a multi-part phase. This is like we're like right in about like the last third. We're entering the last third, and which leads up to like building of all new like player-owned like stations and like and other structures. There's things that they're discussing about putting in like observatories for you to go ahead and catch.
Observe the space. Yeah.
Observe the space. Find find
true space north.
Hey, even better. Like, and this is not announced as to when this is going to happen, but someday, allegedly, there is supposed to be propaganda, like information booths you can build.
We're gonna have space graffiti all over the place.
Right, and I would really like just a structure of like my character's face, like plastered, like in giant writ, and then maybe, I don't know, like some Russian text and propaganda making me look like a terrible dictator. I think that would be hilarious. That sort of stuff is what I'm looking forward to. That's a little bit further off, but the mayhem that's going to ensue in the next couple of weeks is going to be really something to behold.
So Pack Light and I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just curious because I can see how this affects all the structures and the player-owned stations and things like that. But how does this affect all the stuff planet side?
Planet side, you mean like planetary interaction, which is one of Hoot's specialty.
Right.
Basically,
that's all left untouched.
Yeah.
And to be clear, EVE is very much a game in space. Kind of the things that happens on planets, and planetary interaction, and then whatever the people who play Dust 514 are doing. Although I hear that's coming to the PS4. I think that announcement was made last week or something like that. But all of that is kind of just a very tertiary thing to what is the actual gameplay in EVE, which is literally spaceships in outer space.
Spaceships.
I just didn't know if it opened up new, like I had this beautiful planet base producing whatever the planets produce to feed my space station. All of a sudden, wait a minute, why are the colonies revolting? They've taken it over from the ground and
that is feels pretty much a mechanic that you can't, let's say, interact with the NPCs that live on a planet. But one of the things that they've done is that for the longest time, certain structures could only be put in certain points of space. Like you could only put a station near a planet. You can always put a POS at a moon. They've done away with that. So from what I understand in the initial discussion is you'll be able to put whatever these new structures that they're in discussion anywhere in space. With that also means putting in automated defenses. So you could put pew-pew lasers and rockets and other things there to go ahead and just destroy anyone who might get a little too close to your station, depending on where you put it. So there's that. So as for how the affects like the actual planet mechanics, that's more the realm of Dust 514 and soon be quote unquote Legion, which is the next iteration of the game. So we'll probably bring you more information on that as that becomes available.
Right.
Cool.
And of course, it also ties in with the other game, the other IP that CCP is going to release called Valkyrie, which is the dogfighting. This is what we wanted to, be like in Star Wars, like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter kind of thing. That's going to be using the Oculus Rift, and there's talks about tying all three games somehow together.
Oh wow!
So we'll see how that works out.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, having actually played one of the alpha releases with the Oculus, and sitting there and looking underneath my chair and looking at my butt and my shoulders, and it's like, it's really, really pretty, and it wasn't even optimized yet. So all I have to say
guys, you heard it here first. Link looking at his own butt is really, really pretty.
It is. It's like, hey, my space butt is fantastic. In real life, I could go to the gym more. But hey, in space,
you didn't make that qualifier last time.
Mm-hmm. In space, you can have bums of steel. Got it. All right.
Yep.
So that's kind of the state of the game and the state of Eve. In our little corner of the universe.
So who have we pissed off recently?
I mean, everything is on fire. It wasn't my fault.
In space, there is no fire.
Last time we talked, we were moving back to our ancestral homeland in Fountain, and that went really well. I mean, it was fun there for a bit. I think it was a nice kind of breather.
And
for everyone.
And by what he means really well, everything blew up.
Okay, so for us, for AIE,
Turbo. Okay, got it.
Back, and it was a real chill time. But for the overall alliance, that's a little bit of a different story. There was another large organization that decided to say, "Hi, Brave Collective, we totally outclass you, and we're going to take all of your stuff." And there were some lapses in, I guess, what you would say, like the upper channels of I guess, leadership in Brave, and it really led to kind of a mixed message as to how we were doing, what we were doing, and how we were responding to the aggression. And Brave has its origins in a subreddit.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I don't want to talk about Reddit, but I'm sure a lot of you have read, just a lot about Reddit recently with the recent dismissal of their CEO and the fact that it's just sometimes it's like a cesspit of humanity sometimes. Like
a wretched hive of scum and villainy. Got it. All right.
And Brave, like, for the longest time, had attempted this sort of ethos of stay classy, but unfortunately there was never really an enforcement mechanism or a will to rein some of the excesses of what I would call free speech in. And you ended up with a really toxic and hostile environment. And over the course of kind of as that unfolded, and as the various dramas in Brave and among their line members ensued, I got together with the officers, with Blank, with all the other officers in Eve, and I was like, so, look, Brave appears to be tearing itself apart, like, terribly. We have a couple of options. And we went through our options and our list, and we decided that I think, frankly, we can do this better. And as of the 14th, we're still members of Brave, but we declared, I think it was on July 2nd, that we're leaving. We're not going to tolerate this nonsense anymore.
Yeah, we're not going to put up with the craziness, because we have some experience in AIE WoW on how difficult it can in steering a community, particularly when it's a video game. So multiply that 100 times, and I don't like to say caustic. I like to say the rather open nature of Reddit, and add to that.
That's very kind of you.
I know, thank you. Diplomat for the win. With that, and just the general like amount of stress and work, because running an organization in any game of this size is stressful and hard. And when you're dealing in an organization in EVE that has about 300 times more moving parts and relationships and like other groups trying to destroy you, it becomes a beyond full-time job. So burnout is a real problem, particularly if you don't delegate. Did I mention delegate?
Delegate,
and, and also if you have a penchant for firing people that you've trusted to do their job, and they're doing their job, and you get kind of upset about it because they're doing their job, and you get rid of them. Enough dirty laundry. Anyway. So the whole thing has sometimes these organizations, in a very dramatic fashion, spin themselves into oblivion, and it is a glorious, glorious, messy process.
I mean, it's a really, really, really great thing to watch. I mean, especially if you like watching that sort of drama, it's maybe not the best or the most stable thing to be in the middle of.
Exactly. It's fun from the outside, but if you're in the middle of it, not a good time because stuff's on fire and you're going to get burnt.
Well, yes and no, because we were right in the middle of it, man. We were deep in the middle of it. But the thing is that, again, to our saving grace, we're made up of mature individuals who have a cool head, who are fairly organized, who basically run around saying, hey, my pants are on fire. Here, quickly, give me a bucket of water. So
right.
we know how to handle such crises. Other people don't. So as people are running around completely freaked out, we're just sitting there enjoying the show.
Right.
So yeah, we decided we're leaving, and coincidentally, after we decided to leave, and shortly before I made the announcement, I caught wind that actually the entirety of Brave was done with Fountain and was going to leave anyway. So I was like, oh, I better get this announcement that we're leaving out like right now, 2 days ago. So I released that announcement, and it's gone over really well in the Corp. I am pleased and flattered and honored that as many of you decided to come along with us on this crazy journey as that we're about to embark on, because oh god, like doing this alone, and we won't be doing this alone because you kind of live and die in EVE based on the relationships you form, but doing this on our own, it's a new and scary and exciting and awesome thing, and I'm really, really humbled that pretty much, with the exception of maybe a couple of people who very graciously said, hey, I just want to try new things, most of the people in AIEU said, yeah, let's do this. It's going to be great.
Yeah. The general there was a general belief within the Corp, it's like, we can do better.
Yeah.
We've got the expertise, we've got the knowledge, and we don't find ourselves in a position that the corporation was when it first founded, where it's like, scared kittens. Now it's like, well, we've become kind of the wizened Hannibal Lecter of space, for all that's worth.
Or at least something like that. And to Brave's credit, Brave is still, Brave is still around and will probably still be around unless more awful things happen. We'll see there. But they've had a change in leadership since we announced our departure, and Nancy Crow, who's kind of the current titular figurehead, I wish him the best. He's a good guy, and I really do think there are still a lot of good people left in Brave. It's just for them, it's going to take a lot of work to fix that community from people on the inside that have internal credibility. And I really do wish them the best, but there's kind of our time there is done.
Yeah, and it's just to go to show is like, they have their work cut out for them, and we wish them all the best. But it is a game where infiltration and subterfuge and other shenanigans go on. There's other people who are actively trying to destroy you from the inside. So you have to be aware of that. So it adds it adds that extra dimension of the game.
Right. It's not a sweet friendly game. It's a game for grown-ups, and there's multiple levels of intrigue.
Yeah, no, even that's a little. It is a sweet and friendly game, but you got to remember that for every cuddly kitten out there, they get claws and sharp, pointy teeth.
So, Lank, how's your phone been?
My phone has exploded on a daily basis for the past 2 months. We run.
Don't. That's dangerous.
So the running joke is that I charge my phone every night. I get it in the morning at 100%. I get to work, it's down to 0.
Right.
Because
of the Slack.
Because of Slack and the other communication methods that we go. Because we're actually pretty well organized and in the know what's going on. But it's like we're dealing with situations that need to be acted upon, and everyone needs to know pretty quickly. That and the fact that we've recently got ourselves involved in some other extracurricular activities, which Hoots can talk about, which has been added a further dimension of entertainment and content that the corp is usually not used to, but now is like embraced wholeheartedly. So I don't know, Hoots, if you would like to kind of talk a little bit about like the diplomatic side and kind of the intelligence game that we sometimes get ourselves involved in.
Well, so, it's AIE. To be clear, AIEU, we're just a bunch of simple podcasters and podcast fans.
Right.
And we don't have any large active intelligence network or agents or anything like that at all. No, we really don't. That said, there is something to say about the relationships that you build in EVE, and those relationships, they mean something, and they create content that wouldn't otherwise be created. And I know, Lank, you were particularly interested in kind of furthering and kind of teaching about how to forge these relationships. I believe, and I don't know if we're ready to announce yet, kind of some of our future plans in that endeavor.
I think we can announce that one. So
okay.
That particular one.
So there is in the works, Lank Theris and kind of a group of people will be spearheading a public diplomacy school for individuals in the EVE community who are interested in the finer arts of diplomacy and metagaming. In that regard,
so now we gotta take classes to play this game?
You know what?
Totally voluntary. Totally voluntary.
You don't have to, but if you're interested in learning how to do that thing, I think we have something to offer for you. And yeah, more details will be forthcoming on that within the upcoming week. So, what else do we have, Lank? What else? I mean, where we are and where we're at and what we're going to do.
Well, first of all, I don't know if we touched about it, but didn't we have a birthday release fairly frequently? Like actually coming up.
Yeah. Yep.
Like a few days.
Yeah, like
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. The AIU, this little experiment in one of the most rough and tumble like online communities or any game in under actually current being offered, is going to turn 5 years old. Not a lot of people. Yeah, five. I'm this old. No,
It's about to start for kindergarten.
Yeah.
We've already gotten through preschool. I don't know like how much hair has been pulled out either of our own or our classmates, but we graduated from preschool and we're about to head on to kindergarten. We've actually made it 5 years, which is the most incredible thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. No, and it's funny because when we look at how AIE's expanded in other games, not to get off the EVE track, Stig, who was the initial CEO and founders, decided if we're going to try this crazy idea, why not try it in the most cutthroat game available and see how it goes. And here we are 5 years later going, what fun can we do today? What fun?
Right.
Yeah. So it goes to show, it works. So there is that. Let's see.
Congrats, by the way. It's awesome.
I blame Hoots. So
Totally.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So just running through the thing.
I think it really goes to show you it's not the game or the mechanics of the game, it's the people in the organization in the game. So if the people are active in the game and in part of the organization, I think that's what makes the game even more fun.
Yeah, and it's not even within the organization. It's one thing that's really been hard-hitting in the way we've been playing lately. EVE, above almost every other game right out there with like WoW and another game, is a social relationship-based game.
Right.
We would not be where we are at right now if it weren't for the relationships that we formed both inside the Corp and outside the Corp, and with some of the largest and most powerful entities in the game.
So the secret is that we are actually really bad at this game.
Yes.
Right.
But we're able to punch above our weight class because of the relationships that we've formed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and those are within, and again, within the Corp and outside the Corp, because you EVE is not one of those games. EVE is a horrible single player game. Unlike WoW, which is actually a great single-player game if you want to play it that way.
I played WoW as a single-player game and was a member of AIE for years without engaging because WoW was a single-player game. But the moment I started playing EVE, that's when I had to start engaging because I would not be playing EVE were it not for the people.
Yeah, because
that's like the original EverQuest. You could solo if you were crazy and had infinite amount of hours, but if you didn't have a group in that game to help you do stuff, you didn't have any fun in the game. And I think it's the same thing with EVE. You could solo, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah. It's we talk about the game. There's the issues of Plex and trading like this token for money and such, but the real currency, the real thing that is of real value within the game, is trust. 100% top of thing, trust. And can I trust you or can I not trust you? And if in it, the game folds out depending on whether people are able to keep their word or not. Can you get things to work or not? On top of that, it's also a game of organization. Unlike a lot of other games where you press button, get bacon, you can sit there and toil for days and days, hours if not months, and you create this fantastic, beautiful sandcastle to have it destroyed in an afternoon. And whether you have the emotional resiliency and and the maturity to just pick yourself up again and do it all over again, because people will oftentimes think I am invincible, I am nigh invulnerable, and they have found their organization completely implode from the inside or outside. You constantly have to be keeping an eye out, constant need for kind of like situational awareness. What's going on? What's happening? It's never ever static.
Mm.
Let's see. What are some of the other issues or things that we're talking about? So, we all talk about the podcast because yes, we run a popular EVE podcast. But with that, and again, into some of the content and some of the things that the Corp is doing, and we do with the support of the Corp members, we got involved in space politics.
Right.
Shocking.
Yeah, EVE,
That's right. Space
go
politics.
figure. Space politics, best politics. And EVE is one of these weird games that actually has a player voted on board of representatives, if you want to call it, for lack of a better term. And for the second year in a row, we have provided an outlet for these candidates to interview and present themselves to the player base. And that was a success last year. It was a success this year. That has actually led off to us spinning off another show that is just all about space politics. So we have become professional EVE political pundits, if you can believe that. So that's getting all the ball rolling. And again, it's all based on forging those relationships, getting people to talk to us, and discussing sometimes dicey discussions because space nerds are serious nerds. So just to give you an idea of what is available for a player who's willing to come and check us out, and you might be brand new, but we happily take you under our wing and show you this is what we do. Don't you want to try it?
Yep.
So, any question, comments, concerns? Mention of how gorgeous my hair looks?
Your hair does look gorgeous. And at the end of the show, we'll go ahead and make sure that you give us all those, the link to the podcast and everything.
Mm-hmm. So
People can
other than
see
that,
them.
there are kind of, I guess, two other things.
Right.
Speaking of people and speaking of I guess you would say relationships, Eve meetups, because of that very reason, are really super important. And they're just like a lot of fun because it's just Eve nerds getting together and talking about internet spaceships and being hopefully not ridiculous about it. But there is a monthly Madison meetup. It is now the first Thursday of every month, and the August one, if I can do math right, or if I can quickly pull up the correct calendar, is going to be on August the 7th. No, that's a Friday, August the 6th, and I along with kind of other members of the EVE community, if you're in the Midwest, will be there. So by all means, check it out. And Lank, you have a Pasadena meetup on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, we've started founding a regular EVE Los Angeles meetup based out of Pasadena on the second Sunday of every month, which would be, I believe, August 8th.
The second Sunday? Yeah, it'd be
yes,
the 8th.
Sorry, 8th. And it's starting to pick up. We actually had a space famous person join us yesterday, a fellow by the name of Max Singularity, who one of the great things about EVE is that the lore isn't stagnant. The players affect the lore. And this particular player, who is known as the Amarian Space Pope, has actually threatened one of the leading emperors, who's an NPC in the game, and has actually affected the game to the point where there's now an open rebellion being headed by him, and it's affecting the game. So he was able to join us there, and that was great.
Oh, very cool.
Did you kiss the ring?
I totally kissed the ring.
Very good.
He has a ring. So just to give you an idea, it's like some of the most powerful space famous like tyrants in the game have been found and caught on bended knee kissing the ring. And yes, this has completely affected how the game's actually panned out, and in a way that usually players aren't used to seeing. And on top of that,
yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, question for you with these type of meetups, because EVE itself can be kind of a more antagonistic game. Do you see any of that bleed in real life, or is it more just in
very
fun?
Very rarely.
Oh, okay.
I've sat there and shared beers with people who had myrtleized my face time and time again.
You really don't see that sort of animosity when you get into real life meetups, and that's one of the really, I guess I would say, redeeming and really warming things about EVE culture is when you're at a meetup and FanFest, the kind of the yearly developer shindig every year. There is a strong culture of when you are meeting with someone, it is kind of a moment of camaraderie and kind of celebration for the game. And the community's real good, and in kind of the rare instances where you do hear about animosity, there's pretty much universal condemnation from the entire community. About that sort of thing. I can remember some acts of vandalism last year.
There's been like one. Yeah, there was one act of vandalism.
Right.
It was basically openly dealt with, and the individuals who were behind it were called out, and a swift and judicious punishment was handed out. So
that is good. I mean, because I know it's one thing, we certainly, people who play WoW will joke with our friends, Horde versus Alliance till every day. But I like the fact that when you do these real life meetups, much like in that space, it is taking it out of the game, and you're all there to play. That's cool.
Now, with that said, when certain players do show up at these meetups with some like notoriety, there is a very, very palpable aura. And people will react, and they're like, "Oh God, the Matani's here." Oh.
Right.
Oh no, Scion Kumitomo's here. Hide your women and children. DNS Black is here. Quick, hide your beer. It's like so the reputations are larger than life. But again, it's all content. And Hoots is talking and not saying anything.
And I'm muted. No, but that's Elo Knight, hide your beer, because he will apparently steal it from your meetup.
Oh, that's a funny story.
Yeah.
We're one of the meetups that's coming up, which is one of the big granddaddies here is AIE Vegas, which is over in October 23rd. And one of the leaders of one of the more nefarious group, Black Legion, was partying a little hard on one of the nights and kind of walked away with someone's entire scotch collection. So now there's a running gag of hide your women and children and make sure your booze is in a locked container whenever he shows up.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
When you have a smaller game like Eve, and when everyone is on a single server too, your name gets out there, and if you're not careful, you can kind of sully that single name, and you can't play on a different server.
I
when
love
you are the only Link Theris out there, and you become infamous, it may not be a good thing.
No,
in a game like Eve.
Definitely.
Yeah, my favorite is whenever I mentioned Hoot's name to one particular person. His name is Gagali, and he goes,
Oh, that's
"Ooh,
right.
He terrifies me. He scares me."
Oh, wow.
And this was Hoots was interviewing him for the big election earlier in the year, and I actually talked to him a little bit in prior preparation, and this man was hyperventilating because it's like. It's like, yeah, relax. He's really nice. Just don't mess up.
Oh, funny.
And what happens? He'll eat you alive. So it was great. But a little bit of, we mentioned about AIE Vegas. That's going to be held at the Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino on October 23rd and 25th. A lot of AIE is going to be there. And I heard a particular loudmouth guy named Ferris is actually going to be one of the guest speakers there. So yeah, I'm sucker or wherever. Yeah,
Awesome.
I will,
we know this.
Yeah, I'll be up there talking and having some Icelandic guy who's very short tapping his watch, going, shut up, move it on.
Right.
So I think that is it in a nutshell, unless you have some other nefarious ploy or deed to do, Hoots.
After the show, 1 hour after the show, if you're listening live, there will be a State of the Corporation where I go down in depth for kind of the people who are really interested in Eve and talk about some mechanics about where we are as a State of the Corporation. That is at 9 p.m. Central Time tonight. If you're listening on the recording, there will be a recording of that State of the Coalition, or Corporation rather, that I'll have up on a SoundCloud or maybe on the Capsule.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yes, because we totally have press junkets.
That's perfect.
That's awesome.
I would expect nothing left from our friends in AIEU.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys very much. This has been awesome.
Very space educational.
There you go.
Exceptionally.
Space-educational?
Yep.
No? All right.
And spolitics.
Spolitics, yeah.
Politics. All right.
All right. Well, looking at last week's question of the week, we had asked Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward, awesome expansion or awesomest expansion? And apparently everyone's too busy playing to respond to the tweet. So
I didn't even see the tweet, and I follow all of you guys. So yeah.
What would you have
Crazy
answered, Aludra, had you noticed it?
Yeah, had I seen it, had it not been family summer togetherness over in the Aludra household, let's see. It is probably awesomest expansion. Yeah,
Nice.
That's saying something, because the 3 new classes are crazy fun. And the music, and the zones, and my friend has a griffin, and it makes the WoW griffins look really shabby, like crazy shabby in comparison.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's where all my free time's going, and I have almost $3 million in that game, so...
Sweet.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could make money anywhere else the way I can make it over in that game. All right, so our new question of the week, which we expect answers to, and yes, that includes me, is where do you get your AIE news/updates? Is it the website? Is it the podcast? Is it the Twitter? Is it the forums? Or does your aunt call you every month and let you know what we're up to? Any way you got it, please let us know. Explain it if you have to.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's it for our show. Well, the very large chat room, by the way, guys, thank you so much. AAU came out in full force as long as our normal shenanigans. So thanks so much. So as you guys start suggesting titles, I want to thank Lankenhoot so much for joining us. So where can we find you guys when you're not blowing up stuff in space and doing space politics and etiquette and not etiquette, education and all of that?
I'm just kind of around. But really, you can find me at AIE Hoots on Twitter. That's probably the most public and easiest way to get a hold of me. How about you, Lank?
At, as the Space Jerk tag says there at Lank Theris on the Twitters. You can find me on the forums, of course, for the AIE community. So yes, I'm usually around on Jabber once in a while because Jabber is Jabber. But anyway, yeah, I'm around. You get to hear my voice everywhere because I talk a lot.
Cool. And what are our Eve podcasts? So we have them here as well.
So we've expanded actually. So we have the Cap Stable podcast, which is the primary podcast, Prime. We actually launched a French language variant of the show, Cap Stable FR, in Francais.
It is in French, so don't
Oh my gosh.
begin expecting to understand it if you don't speak French. It's a great podcast. The host that we have does a fantastic job. A shout out to Bach. He does an incredible job with it. And then there's also, kind of spearheaded by yourself, Lank Theris, the political podcast that's released usually on a monthly basis, CSM Watch.
Yeah, which is a wonderful, wonderful joke, and actually a bit of an in-joke, because when we were interviewing one of the candidates a couple of years ago, he stated, who watches the Watchers, and there was a general concern of there is no seem to oversight, and I was joking around, goes, who watches the Watchers? I guess we do. So we ran it there.
Also, the domain was available, and I
totally
grabbed it immediately.
And
perfect.
And it was mentioned to him, I should have never given you that idea.
Definitely. Great.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, guys, so much. Yeah.
All right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
You know his lines.
I was trying to grab the AIEU podcast Twitter handle and missed. So, if you have a question or comment about our show, you can email us at podcast@aie-guild.org. You can also follow us on Twitter. The show is at AIE Podcast. Aludra is at Aludra_AIE. Makala is at Cyberwave. And Tetsemi is at Ivory Tiger. We record live with video every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can join the chat room and play along with us on our website at theaiepodcast.com. Our theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him at Keys with Soul or visit his website, keyswithsoul.com.
Yes, because you need to. And now it is time to play all the great AIE member segments we received this week, including Ask Miss Mulgra, Overly Dramatic News, and Mega Minute.
All right, and in 2 weeks, we'll be talking to Max and Sotor. So until then, AIE, this is Makala.
This is Tetsemi.
And this is Aludra.
And this has been the AIE Podcast.
Yay!
Explode hilariously, gentlemen and ladies.
And guys, we kept it just over an hour. I am impressed.
Yep.
Not only impressed, I'm starving. All right. Apple phone.
That was mine. It's Apple phone. Ring, 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 ring. The Apple phone.
All right.
And that work thing I talked about, I am going to drop out for a bit and attend to that work emergency, which conveniently is sprouting up now. Take it easy, everyone.
Later.
Have a good one. All right, I'm out too. Bye, guys.
Bye. All right. Let's look through these. Let's see. We have You Can Make Billions in Eve. Oh, that's not a show title. That was a comment. Let's see. That's you answering our question. What could possibly go wrong? AIE Eve of Destruction. unknown thing. Coming soon, Space Overlord Hoots. Eve, what's up with that? There we go. AIE Universal on Twitter. Thank you, Stu. That's what I was looking for earlier.
I kind of like Eve, what I get myself into personally, but it's up to Link.
Eve Redicate?
Yeah. Eve Redicate. Oh, God, no.
Eve Redicate? Well, oh, my God.
Oh.
We're so desperately trying to not have people, as a joke, we started up an AIU subreddit just for the giggles.
Oh, no.
And now I wish I hadn't done it.
I'm sure. All right. Let's see. Yeah, you took the Eve apple. That. Yeah, I like Eve. What did I get myself into?
So did I.
All right, we're gonna grab that Lencaso or Lencasio. We're gonna go ahead and grab that one. Eve, what did I get myself into? All right, well, thank you, chat room. You guys are awesome as always. I'm gonna wrap this up, and I will try and get the show published tomorrow, just depending on work schedule. So, have a good one.
Have a good. Thanks, Link.
Thanks, Link.
Bye.